Today on Zielonka, it's time to start planting potatoes in our largest field, which means we need to buy the equipment and the seeds. Do we have enough money to get the whole field done? Let's get farming. Hello and welcome along and welcome back to Zielonka. We've got a fairly tough day ahead of us. I think we've got 15,630 in the bank. And I bought the McCormick here over to the shop. And that is because we need to get a piece of equipment to seed the potatoes. Now, I've basically got two choices, I think. Yes. Oh, no, actually, I do have three choices. Although the GL860 compactor is 129,500. And I think that is way out of our price range and probably overkill for what we're doing on here. So I think the GL420 or the GL32E are our two choices here. And looking at this is only 10,800. We would be able to afford to buy that. That would only leave us with 5,000 to actually get seeds with. Whereas the GL420, we can't afford it outright. We could afford to lease it. It would only cost us 2,346. So yes, I think we're going to go with that. And that then gives us a lot of leftover cash, which will then allow us to buy a whole load of seeds. We get 1,050 per set of bags. So we'll buy 3 of these. I expect this to go through them fairly quickly. And we do have some seeds actually still at our farm. So this might be a little bit of overkill, but we do need to seed our other vegetables over the next couple of days. So yeah, I'm liking that. I think that's a good amount of seed. So let's hook up our seeder into this, our potato planter into here, and see if we can get this loaded up. This should take almost all of these pallets of seed, and I'm just intrigued to see how far a full one of these goes. I had very much in the run-up to recording this episode basically thought I was going to go with the other seeder, with the smaller seeder. And to me, it just doesn't make sense now thinking about it. We have enough money coming in every day in order to cover the costs of our leased equipment. We are gonna end up with a decent amount of money from Triple Soup in the near future as well. I mean, we ended up with a massive amount yesterday that made it able for us to get this tractor. Do you know what I'd really like now for this tractor and this job? Would be GPS, and we can't afford it at the moment. We might be able to in the next hour or so, but going forward it would be really nice to have GPS, but we can't do that at the moment. We have got our Massey Ferguson currently working on this field, because at the end of the last episode we weren't quite able to get all of the stones picked up, and I think our stone picker is just finishing off. So we're now nicely lined up here. We will unfold this, start it up. Don't think I'm connected up properly on something. Let's try again. Yeah, sometimes you need to reconnect everything just to get it to work. And surprisingly, I thought that this piece of kit ended up tipping the back in order for you to use it, but it seems that's not the case. You just run it along. I am not ridging this field first because I don't think we need to. Ridging only really works if you do it immediately after doing the subsoiling, before the weeds appear. As a result, I don't think I'm going to ridge field 52 either. What I am going to try and do is subsoil and then stone pick and then ridge field 53 in quick succession. See if we can prevent the weeds appearing on there. But yeah, with what we've got on here, I'm not sure ridging is going to make much difference to anything where we don't get the stuff ridged before the weeds appear. I've set the ridger on. I've set the potato planter on a hired worker because this tractor has finished. Let's just spin this around. I want to go and get it onto the next field so that it can start getting the stones off here. And we'll get these cleared off today. So hired worker onto here as well. And hopefully that then will do this. Expecting it to fill up before the end of this field now. Meanwhile, I've taken control of this again, and we're moving across. We didn't make much money in the last hour, interestingly. I'm slightly surprised by that. We are still sort of sitting at 10,500. I did get a little bit of overlap missed there, so that's why I've backed up, so that we can make sure that we get this entire field planted. But yeah, I'm slightly surprised by that. We really haven't gone up much money at all. And that leads me to check on what's going on here in the shop. No, we're creating plenty of triple soup. We have got to go and sell that later. We're creating carrot soup. The carrot soup just must not be selling for a huge amount of money, so it's not making a big difference to us at the moment. It would have been nice for the carrot soup to have given us enough to get the GPS on this, but sadly we just don't have the money. Now I could switch tractors, but I'm kind of partial to using my new tractor at the moment, so we'll keep on going with that and see how we go. The other thing I'm noticing here is planting potatoes is getting rid of all the weeds. And I'm wondering if we had ridged this first and then planted potatoes, the ridges stop new weeds from growing. Would the potato planting then mean that this field was weed free? I'm gonna have to go and experiment with that. I'm tempted to go and put the ridger on. Just ridge maybe the last 2-3 rows of the field and see if it really does prevent any extra weeds coming back. In which case, absolutely worth in future ridging before we put the potatoes in, because that will completely stop any weeds from getting us when we're planting potatoes. Potato seeds have actually been going further than I expected. We are coming up to halfway through the field. We have about 10% left in our seeder. In fact, in our planter, in fact, we are at 9% at the exact halfway point. So I think this is probably a pretty good time when we get to the end here to go and get the ridger, ridge the rest of this field before we go and plant it, and see if that deals with the weeds that we have on the rest of this field, and see if any of them continue to grow once we plant the potatoes. There are less weeds on this side of the field because I was driving around doing the stone picking at the end of the last video on this half of the field. So we're gonna end up with less weeds anyway, but I think we might be able to do a little bit better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna head down to the shop. We're going to refill the this planter, buy another couple of pallets to do that, and then I will drop this off at the farm, and we will go and create a whole load of ridges for the rest of this field and see how we do, because it's only 10 past 10. We have plenty of time to have a bit of an experiment today. 2 more pallets plus what we already had down here is enough, I think. Yeah, we're left with just 33 liters here at the shop. That's actually probably enough to do an entire field with one of our one of our vegetables. So we might go and grab those and get the whole thing. In fact, our seeder only takes 16 liters. Which is my ridger? I think that's my ridger. So we'll drop this down, unhook it all, and just spin this around so that we can then hook up to the ridger. Yeah, this might be interesting. I think this is going to be a very cool experiment. We've got to do some ridging later today anyway, so we might leave this up there. But yeah, I'm really intrigued now to see if this is going to deal with weeds, and if getting rid of the weeds with the planter, as appears to be the case with the potatoes, means that it's always worth ridging potatoes. On and down, and away we go. And look, there come the ridgers. And yes, the wheels on our tractor are destroying some of the weeds, but nowhere near all of them. Having a bigger tractor on the farm is definitely a bonus. We're able to handle all of these jobs now with ease. We could enlarge things as we go forwards now. My biggest worry actually about enlarging fields and things, and say picking up field 50 and almost doubling the size of this field, and maybe merging 54 and 53 into one and bits like that, is that it's going to take us longer to harvest. Our harvester at the moment is our real limiting factor. We've got a tractor now that we can run higher horsepower stuff on, so getting bigger machinery from that point of view will be fine, but it will take longer to harvest crops off the bigger field, unless we move into grains and things like that, which is not my aim for this series. Having said that, there are some larger modded harvesters available now on the mod hub, converted versions of the base game beet and potato harvesters, I think, and maybe that would be a way to go going forward. Is to merge the fields a bit and then get a bigger all-in-one harvester that we can do not only our vegetables with, but our potatoes as well. We've got about 198 liters of carrot soup, and yeah, we're not making much carrot soup. I think a lot of our capacity is actually taken up at the moment making triple soup. So the carrot soup isn't really adding anything to us. So I'm going to stop the production. I'm going to deactivate the potato soup production because that's finished. I am going to deactivate the carrot soup production because I want to concentrate on the triple soup at the moment. See how much more we can get out of that and sell that off in the near future. As a result, yeah, there's no point in running the carrot soup at the moment. It's just not bringing us in much money. We are getting about 200 liters an hour from it, and as a result, it's not really impacting our money in any significant way. We will be looking to impact that more once we do another sell-off of triple soup, and then we can use up the rest of the carrots and sell them off over a few days. Time is 20 to 12, and I'm noticing a small flaw in this. That's everywhere that's been planted with potatoes. That's everywhere that's been ridged. And that is the line between them where you can see no difference whatsoever. So we are going to have to be very careful as to exactly where we're running with this. It's very likely we could end up missing bits if we're not careful. So yeah, definitely need to be careful of that. Again, GPS would be very, very useful in this situation. I would know absolutely that I'm not going to miss anything. Very tempted to borrow the money to put it on this tractor to run this experiment as well as I can. I know that I can make the money back fairly quickly. In fact, I'm pretty sure that if I took a load of triple soup up to the railway now, I could easily buy buy the GPS on this, so it's going to be useful for us for the rest of today. Let's turn that off, lift that. At least these weeds at this end mark where we want to be. I really think, on balance, putting GPS on this tractor is going to be something that is very useful for us. So let's borrow a little bit of money. Our next thing, considering all the equipment we've got, is basically just going to be to pay back a load of loan as soon as we can. So yeah, let's borrow a little bit of money. Let's put GPS on this tractor, and then we'll be able to get this field done and be sure that we're planting where we should be. So park up here, turn it off. We want to borrow 10,000. I am severely trying to limit the amount of money I'm borrowing on this series. We are up to 240,000. 200,000 of that is from our start from scratch. So GPS on. We don't need the Isaria compact. We've got that on another tractor already. So that is 15,000. Yes. Okay. 3,700. That should be enough to get the rest of today done. And now we can plant the rest of the potatoes without fear that we're going to miss anything. Okay, let's line ourselves up. I'm going to put the middle of this down there. We have a look on the map. Yeah, we seem to be nicely positioned. So that's pretty good. Let's set our first waypoint. Like that. Lower or move forward slightly. Lower this down. And away we go. And then we'll set our second point. We will automatically width that. And we will set off. There we go. That should now mean we get this field absolutely spot on. And to double check that, yep, we got no gap in that first strip at all. So here's something interesting. The line to the left-hand side where we've got the ridges is darker than where we are on the... so on the left-hand side is darker, to the right where it isn't. So I think the right there is where we've already planted, and the left is where our newly planted potatoes are. In fact, that's really stark. So yeah, seeing where we've gone and seeing where we're going actually doesn't look like it's going to be that hard. It is changing the ground texture, even though that ground is not getting any extra nitrogen or fertilization. It is marking it as different from the other side. Our stone picker has got full, so let's turn that off and fold it up. And we need to take a hired worker off. There we go, and then we can fold it up. Right, we need to run this up to the stone crusher quickly. Our planter is still going strong. We're making good time today still. And we'll head up and we'll get these crushed at the stone crusher, get a little bit of money for that, and then we'll return to our potato planter, which is doing really well. Down to the stone crusher, pull this in and tip it. How much are we going to get off this? There's not many more stones to get off the field. 204 pounds. So 222 pounds in total off that. Not too bad. That at least will keep us going for a little while. I do have a little bit of worry, of course. We are expecting to pay out 6 grand overnight for our harvester, at least, plus the 2 other things we have leased at the moment. So whatever happens, we're going to have to sell off some triple soup before we can continue next day. Otherwise, well, yeah, otherwise I think we're going to have a problem. Although we might get away with not doing it tomorrow and instead be able to do it the next day. That way we can store up as much triple soup as possible and do it all in one big batch. Stonepicker has completed the task on field 52, which is great news. That's all done. We are very close to finishing this field here. We've got 1 more row to go. We are almost completely clear of weeds on here. Interestingly, I found that when the hired worker was working here, it missed some. And I think that's because the hired worker doesn't drive over the weeds or doesn't do crop destruction on weeds in the same way as it doesn't do crop destruction normally as well. So as a result, you don't get all of the weeds disappearing when planting the potatoes. I always thought that was the potato planter doing that, but you can see here, back over that weed it goes. Otherwise, yeah, it's otherwise they seem to remain. So I've had to run over some of our potatoes. Not massively realistic, but it does mean that we'll actually have a clean setup on here going into this. So it seems that in order for what I'm doing here to work, you either have to turn on hired workers destroying crops, or you have to do it all yourself. Neither of which I think is a bad thing, because, yeah, that adds that extra little bit of realism to it. So let's get this last row done. I'm not going to turn the GPS on for that. It's interesting there. That has not made any difference to the weeds there either. So I don't know what's going on and why suddenly we're not destroying weeds as we seed. But yeah, look, this entire row here is unaffected. Whereas it was destroying weeds before, it's now not doing it at all. Then on this last bit of the field, it is destroying them. I don't know what's happening. We will see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, certainly there's some oddities going on with this field. And we've got a very nice experiment set up on here now that we'll be able to see exactly where this leads to when this field starts to grow. Meantime, we have got all of these potatoes done. I'm just going to nip to the shop, load up the rest of the seed from there, and then we can unload it at the farm, ready to use on our next field tomorrow. Oh, I like that. You can't actually unload seed from the potato planter, so you have to leave them in there. So that will be for next year. But yeah, once they're in here, they're counted as potatoes, and you can't unload potatoes from the potato seeder. Does give us a good idea of how many potatoes we need to save for next year. If our biggest field takes basically two full trailers of this, or 2 full seeders, that means that we need to save back 2,500, maybe 3,000 liters of potatoes. That will give us enough to seed our fields easily, and that will save us a load of money on the actual seeds as well. So yeah, definitely the way to go next year. We'll save up some of our potatoes, maybe put them into a pallet and go from there. Let's hook this up though, because we have a perfect opportunity to go and ridge field 52, because it's only 25 past 2. We could go and ridge up field 52, and then that will be sitting there ready for us when we come to start planting our crops as we move into April. So I'll bring this round here. We'll line this up and we will set off a hired worker because I want to go and put the stone picker away. Ideally, what I would like to do here is go and subsoil the next field. But we know that if we subsoil it and... Oh, this tractor needs repairs. If we subsoil it and then don't go and immediately pick it and ridge it, then we're going to end up with a whole load of weeds. We can deal with the weeds. We have the herbicide to do it. But I want to make sure, I want to test that we really could go that way if we wanted. Let's bring this in here, park it up, because I think now is time to A, get this tractor repaired, and B, to go and load up and sell some triple soup so that we have enough money to go into the next few days. Price was high last time, so I'm hoping it hasn't dropped very much. Repair price for the Massey is going to be 2,695, so that isn't going to empty our bank balance, although it does leave us with only 779. So my hope now is that we'll be able to load up enough of this and get it delivered before we actually run out of money. It would be much better if we could go into the next day with a decent amount of cash and able to actually get some hired workers. Why do we only have... Oh, wow, we don't have that much. We're looking at a good price for triple soup at the moment, just slightly above best price. And as a result... we should get 33,000. That is going to be enough to get us through the next 2 months, I think, which would be good. So let's unfold this, get this loaded up, and then we'll get that money in. And we won't get all 33,000 today because we are going to be at a point where where some of it's going to be left in the soup factory. We have a decent amount of this soup to go, though. So, yeah, let's load this up, take this up to the railway, and get it sold. Loading it on this side should make it easier to unload when we get to the train station. So, get that there. Fold this up. Load, pull it up, lift it, and... we'll hook this back on and head up to the railway station and go and get ourselves the cash. 30-odd thousand will be really good for us today. Oh, come on. Yeah, there we go. Connect up the welder. Lock these all down. And, yeah, that'll do it. Let's head down to the railway station and go and get these all sold. See if we can get a load of money in to keep the farm going. So that's all 6 of those loaded up, and we can ship them off now. We thankfully have not run out of money yet, so that can now head off. £83 at least that, and I'm hoping that they are all gonna make it through. So we will fold this up, we'll hook back up to our trailer, and we can head back to the farm. It's 4:30 and we've got a lot of done today, and this is going to put us in a really good position for tomorrow. We'll be able to get all 3 tractors working. There we go, 30,166. Plus an extra 2,680 in our environmental score, means that, yeah, we got 33,094 going into tomorrow. That should be enough to pay our overnight leasing costs. It should also be enough for us to hire enough workers for the next day as well. So I'm really happy about that. That is a good amount of work for today. So tomorrow we are going to be getting the parsnips planted. Those are the first of our vegetable crops we need to get in the ground. We're also going to be preparing our next field for, I think it might be, well, it's either the red beet or the carrots. I think it might be the red beet. So that will be the potato field we're preparing for that. So that will be getting that subsoiled, destoned and ridged to try and prevent any weed growth. For today though, this is where I'm going to leave it. So all that remains is for me to say
thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, drop us a comment and give it a share. Special thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Your support is invaluable in making these videos and helping the channel to grow. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the links below, follow on Twitch to watch live, and for more videos, subscribe and ring that bell. I will see you next time. Goodbye.